Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, trust talks, and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each episode of our program, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to look out for, and what to expect so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. And in honor of Veterans Day this month, we're going to devote the entire time of this episode to veterans issues. We have two guests with us today who have served their country proudly. Major Eric Palmer of Manchester and Specialist Shaquan Michael of Bloomfield, who both own their own businesses, BBB accredited businesses. We want to start by asking you a little bit about your time in the military. So Eric, why don't you start? Tell me about your military service.
So currently, I have 23 years of military service. I'm still serving in civil affairs. I have 3 deployments, one to Iraq, one to Bahrain, and one to Djibouti, Africa. I started out of high school, did a first 3-year enlistment, active duty, and then went on to college afterwards, and then commissioned, and then from there, been working as a military officer for almost 10, 12 years now, so it's been awesome.
And what made you want to stay in the military?
Well, I am 4th generation military.
Wow.
And there's a lot of benefits of being in the military. You learn a lot. There's a big support network and structure in place. But you know, the thing inside you that you just want to give back. You know, you want to learn, you want to grow and develop, and as a person, as a human being. At the same time, you're looking at how you can give back. And as a kid, I grew up in Kuwait. And when we were dealing with Saddam, we did evacuation drills to the embassy. And so as a kid, I got to see the Marines and the Army doing evacuation drills. And we went, to the embassy. We got on a Chinook. We went out to the carrier as a drill and so that to me, I saw that, I was like, wow, this is awesome. People are over here in a foreign country that I'm living in right now, and they're protecting Americans. And so that stuck with me. And so when it's my turn, I said, all right, let's join. And, I didn't know I was going to do 23 years. At the time, I just wanted to join and do my part. And then 23 years later, I'm still doing my part, so it's been awesome. Fascinating
to know that you actually spent time as a child in Kuwait. That's really interesting. And Shaquan, you actually just left the military in April. Tell me a little bit about your time.
Yeah, so I enlisted into the Army Reserves before I graduated from high school. I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go in life, and when I came back, I was able to take my experience and all of the structure that they gave me in the military and apply it to everyday life. And my uncle, he was in the military. He was in, I believe it was Desert Storm back in the earlier 2000s. He was able to really kind of show me that that the military, they can, give you the structure that you need to build whatever type of life you want. You could do active duty or reserves. So I did the reserves. My brother, he joined right after me, and he went active duty.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you both for your service. Later on, I'm going to ask you about the benefits of hiring veterans. I know there's many, and also about the challenges and the opportunities of owning a veteran-owned business. But first, we're going to get to a topic that a lot of viewers of Trust Talks are very familiar with: scams. Individuals who self-identified as being active duty military personnel, military spouses, or veterans submitted less than 10% of reports to BBB Scam Tracker in 2022, but reported significantly higher median financial losses than non-military consumers. That's according to Better Business Bureau's most recent Scam Tracker risk report. Military consumers reported losing an average of $238 last year, versus non-military consumers who lost $163 on average. Service members, military spouses, and veterans all reported higher median dollar losses to scammers in 2022 versus non-military consumers. Active duty military and military spouses reported higher susceptibility than non-military consumers. And what's interesting is that when you break those 3 groups out, active duty military, military spouses, and veterans, active duty military were exposed the least least, but lost the most money, $490, compared to an average loss of nearly half that for military spouses and even less for veterans. So I'm going to bring you guys back in. You heard those statistics. Why do you think active duty military are most likely to lose the most money in a scam?
So there's two things here. One, I would say the age demographics. You have younger folks coming in from high school into the service, and so their life experience is not as broad as older folks would be. Two, the scammers know that the military folks, active duty military folks, get a guaranteed paycheck every single week, or excuse me, every single month, and so they know, hey, that's a prime target. They know they get a city paycheck, so it's a prime target. I know in the armed services, the chain of command and the leadership try to mentor and coach and guide folks that are of young age, saying, hey, look out for this. The other thing too is you look at the installations, there are, these car dealerships outside the gate, and so a lot of the young troops are gravitating to the shiny objects, and so they want a shiny object, and they forget, hey, I need to do my homework and make sure this is a good purchase. So that's, from my experience being a young soldier and also mentoring and guiding young soldiers, to be mindful of that, but it's a constant vigilant effort to make sure that those folks don't get scammed.
Sounds like there's a lot of temptation around the base,
Yes.
or outside of the base.
Yes, there is.
Well, and anything else that you'd like to add about that?
I think it's the lack of time they have to actually do research. A lot of the times, they go out into the field to do training, or they're working 7 days in a row, or even more than that. And I'd say that a civilian would typically, do their research. They'll spend a couple weeks, a month, however long it takes for them to get a good understanding. But, when you're in need of something, or, something just pops up, you don't have much time, you're tired, I think that would, in a sense, make a prime target for people that are scamming.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's look at the types of scams that the military community is targeted by the most. Online purchase scams, employment scams, and home improvement scams. Now, online purchase scams are the riskiest scams for all three demographics, also for civilians. You've heard those statistics. Have you ever felt, either of you ever felt like you were being targeted by a scam? I
feel as if, when you look up some things online. If I'm going to go to the military base that I'm going to, I'd later find that, hey, there's a bunch of ads that pop up. People do sell your information, and I feel as if there was a time that I was targeted because I was in the military, as well as my brother. He was targeted for scams before. They somehow knew that he was in the military. On Facebook, a lot of people show that hey, I'm in the Army, I'm, in the Marines. And I think they look for people that they know they're young, they know they're just getting going, and there would be a prime target for them.
Shaquan had mentioned the fact that they don't have a lot of time to do research. They might be deployed too, and talk about not having any time, right?
So one of my experience, so I recently was in Djibouti, Africa in 2019 to 2020. We were briefed, hey guys, be mindful of your online searches, online purchases, because the country didn't own the internet. It was a Chinese-based company. And so we had to do VPNs, so that we could protect what we were searching for and what we were purchasing. So a lot of times my card was compromised, not just once but twice. Even when it happened to me, it also happened to a couple of people in my unit. And so one of the things that Change Command says the company down, said, hey, listen, if you guys want to make a purchase online, stuff like that, why don't you call home and have a family member make a purchase on your behalf to circumvent this, because they couldn't trace it down quick enough. And so that was one of our stop gates. And so, like I said, it does happen, and you just have to, advise your family, say, hey, if this happens, I may need to ask a favor to make a purchase on my behalf so that I can protect my banking institution.
Eric, you mentioned all of the young people in the military who may be more apt to fall for these scams. Is there any sort of training that you guys go through to avoid scams?
Yeah, so especially on the online stuff, a lot of the online scams come from emails. And so every year we have what they call anti-terrorism training and computer safe training. And really the computer safe training is like piercing emails. So for example, if you get an email saying, hey, your bank account just got hacked and we're noticing that $2,000 is missing out of your account, please email us back to verify your information so we can go forward. No financial institution is going to send an email like that. Most financial institutions, they're going to give you a phone call and then they're going to say, hey, can you call back to verify this? So a lot of piercing emails are going out and a lot of young people think, oh my God, and they get into panic mode that it must be real because of the bank logo's there, they have a signature block in the email, everything else. And what we tell a lot of young soldiers is that if you get a call from an IRS, which IRS does not call you, if you get an email from a bank institution, call your institution directly, and also, block that email. And so that's how we coach people to take on those issues.
So part of that basic training is actually training. It's not just all physical in the military. You're also learning about training and
correct. And sometimes also, and this is where family members and friends can also support that soldier too, because in the basic training, we're teaching the soldiers how to shoot, move, and communicate, not necessarily outside of that. It's when you get to the unit, that's usually when those other life skills come into effect through mentorship. So as a family member, if you have a young service member going into the military, they still need guidance from you. Even though that they're in training and stuff like that, when they get outside of basic training, it's not like you just cut the umbilical cord when they go to the Army. No. There's still some need and foresight from the loved ones to help them out with this.
Shaquan, you said that you felt in the past like you were targeted, your brother's been targeted. So what is your best advice for members of the military community? What do you do to prevent falling for these scams or being targeted again in the future?
So any links that you get, if it's by text, by email, even if it's from if the subject title makes sense, the sender, it looks right, you really want to double check those links. Just make sure they're not going anywhere but the location that you want it to go to. So for example, if you hover over their name, you can see the email. So it might say the name, but the email might be a completely different email. Or, you hover over the link and sometimes it shows you a preview and it's a completely different site. Or if you do unfortunately click on it, look at the title of the site, because the title of the site can completely change. You thought you were going to YouTube, but then you went to a completely different site that says click here and put your information in and log in. So any links at all, I stay away from them for the most part, and I'm just skeptical. What I do, I always double check. Okay, is this a real site? Who is this company? Even if I get phone calls, I actually type that number in on Google, and it actually says this is a known scam number.
Okay, so slow down. Really, is one of the most important things. Is just slow down. BBB has some tips now that we want to share on avoiding some of the most common scams that target members of the military, both veteran and active duty. When it comes to online purchase scams, make sure you do your research, especially if it's a company you've never heard of. You can visit bbb.org to read reviews and complaints, as well as see how the business handled those complaints. If you click on a link in a social media ad, make sure you double check the website, as Shaquan said. Make sure it's the website you think it's going to be taking you to. Scammers are great at mimicking official websites by copying logos and fonts, so double check the URL. Now, with employment scams, realize that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Often these scams come in the form of work from home offers that require no skills and a huge paycheck, so be careful when filling out employment forms with your personal information. Shaquan, did you find when you got out of the military in April, were you inundated with employment offers that maybe some of them were not legit?
To this day, I still get emails about people hiring. And what I do, I was like looking into stuff. So I go to Google University and I just copy the name of the business and I put it in there and I just do a bit more research. I take a deeper look into the business itself as well as where the email's coming from.
It makes sense that the military community and veterans would be targeted by employment scams because you've just gotten out of the military, right? And now you need to find a job. So I would expect you to be easy targets, unfortunately. And finally, and much like online purchase scams, the best way to avoid a home improvement scam is to do your research. Never put a large deposit down. Payments should be staggered with the pace of the work. And we see this a lot with military spouses too. When the husband is deployed, the wife has to make a decision. Maybe she doesn't have a lot of time to do research, or the husband wants to get things fixed in the home before he leaves. He doesn't have a lot of time to do research, picks the first one that he sees, and then unfortunately that person doesn't do a good job or takes a large down payment and doesn't come back to finish the job. Have you guys heard of those?
So
scams?
we have, but once again, our pre-briefs, a lot of because we have a family care program that's in the military, and that's usually addressing those concerns where if a spouse is having an issue, they can reach out to the family care program. But we really advise soldiers, don't make any big purchases while you're deployed. Don't put that stress on your spouse because it just, for us, we think it's not fair. It should be a two-person decision. But also, when you're talking about scams, most military folks have good credit. That's one of the reasons they're targeted, because these soldiers have to have security clearances, and part of it having a security clearance is having a good credit. And the reason that is so that you can't be bought off by foreign entities. So that's why we're targeted, because most of the time we have very good credit. And so it's just one of those things.
And you're taught to take a tactical pause. What is a tactical pause?
So really it's like if things are going super fast, for example, if someone's saying, hey, we got a great deal, we want you to make a purchase today. Now, we'll discount like 25%, X, Y, and Z. We're taught to take a tactical pause in the sense that you can buy something tomorrow or the next day. You don't have to do that purchase right now. You can take a tactical pause, and that will highlight if that individual is a credible individual to buy from or not. So just taking a pause, say, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And if they continue to try to engage in the conversation, to continue to try to convince you to buy something, then that's when you kind of know, hey, this is not the right thing for me.
Okay. That makes sense. That's what we tell consumers all the time, is if they don't want to give you the time to research, that's really a big red flag, because what are they trying to hide? So that makes sense. Well, we're going to wrap up this part of the interview with a little bit of good news. The percentage of military consumers who reported losing money when targeted by scams did drop between 2021 and 2022. It was 44% in 2021, dropped to 39% in 2022. And if you feel like you've been targeted by a scam, even if you haven't lost money, be sure to report it to Better Business Bureau Scam Tracker. That's bbb.org/scam tracker. That way you can warn others, let people know what's out there, and help protect your community. Let's move on now. Eric, you own your own company, Patriot Pressure Washing. It's a BBB accredited business. And Shaquan, you are a Power Enterprise owner, also a BBB accredited business. Let's talk about the challenges of having a veteran-owned business and the opportunities. Eric, do you want to go first?
Sure. Being a veteran business owner is great, because we're taking what we learned in the military and we're applying it to business. Goals, just having that never quit attitude. One of our mottos in the military is we'll never accept defeat, we'll never leave a fallen comrade. And so that's kind of what we bring to the table. I try to hire other veterans as well, because I think it's important. One of the challenges as a veteran coming out of the service is people don't understand that we were in charge with so much responsibility to the level of some cases a CEO. And when we come back in the civilian world, we don't get that same latitude. And so that's why for me, I know when I hire a veteran, I know they're going to show up. I know they're going to be willing to learn. I know that they're going to get the job done. They're not going to accept defeat, and they're going to get the mission accomplished. And so if you're an employer, that's some of the things you're going to get from a veteran. Now, some of the challenges that you may get from a veteran is the following. They may be suffering from PTSD. They may not sometimes show up on time because there's something else going on that is out of their control. You know, a lot of the military folks have been put into an extraordinary circumstance, and they're having to deal with that coming out of combat. And so, yeah, I ask the public, you know, when you do hire a veteran, give some latitude. If you do that, I promise you that veteran's going to come back tenfold and do things that you didn't even ask him or her to do. They're just going to see it, and they're going to take care of it for you.
Shaquan, same question.
So I'd say a challenge is being a business owner that was in the military is the high standard that I just hold like everyone to. In the military, you know, everyone is held to the same standard, and you know, it's like, you know, you could either get it done or not make it happen, and it's sometimes challenging just finding other people with the like-minded mindset to be able to help you grow your business. And you know, a benefit I'd say is just the mentality, just like what Eric was saying, is the never quit, no matter what. You know, a lot of the times people come to me and they say, "Hey, I don't think that's something that you could do." I'm like, well, all the better, you know. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's more so of like a mindset that is really hard to develop, that I was able to, you know, go out into the world and have.
What are some of the other benefits of hiring a veteran? Maybe share some of the skills that you took away from the military that you now apply in your daily work. One big thing, and I, you know, I mentioned it a couple times, is the work ethic. A lot of the times when you're hiring someone, you're not exactly sure if they're going to be able to accomplish the job that you want them to do to the standard that you want it done. And most people that get out of the military, they still have that work ethic, and that's not something that you could teach. You could teach them how to do everything else with the business, but not working hard. Eric, talk about the importance of supporting veteran-owned businesses.
So one of the things, I guess the important thing is supporting a veteran-owned business is validating. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people out there that'll say they're veteran-owned business and stuff like that. And sometimes you come across, and we call it stolen valor. And that can be very challenging because someone may say they're a veteran, but actually they're not. And then they do something that's not ethical or business sound. And then that just puts a black cloud over us. So what I request of the public is, hey, verify by 2 or 3 sources. Like, you know, if they have a good website, are they with another organization? Are they with the Chamber of Commerce? Are they with the Better Business Bureau? Because, you know, people can say that they're a veteran all day long, but are they displaying that in other avenues of life? You know, are they part of a VFW? Are they Chamber, BBB, something along those lines? Because it is a way, because it pulls on the American heartstrings. You know, people want to support veterans. On the same side of that, you know, please, you know, just look at other avenues to validate that person is truly a veteran.
Shaquan, anything else to add as far as, you know, why it's important to you that not only your business, but veteran-owned businesses in general are supported by the public?
So kind of piggyback on what Eric was saying is that when you get out of the military, a lot of the time you did one thing. And you did that one thing for a very long time. And you want to give them some sort of grace or some support or help to transition into the civilian world, right? Because the way that I look at it is that when you're in the military, you're helping to defend the United States in some capacity. And that's what they did for many years. And now they're looking to get back into the civilian world. And it may be challenging, but for them, as well as, you know, transitioning in. But there's a lot of benefits of having someone that did serve some time in the military because of all the work ethic, the things that you can't teach, or not teach. They can't. You can't teach quickly, I should say, right? They already have, the drive to make it happen, the willing to learn, and the never giving up.
Very good, very good. Well, Better Business Bureau works to bring financial literacy to active duty military, their families, veterans, through our Military and Veterans Initiative. Our goal is to help those who serve and their families with the tools they need to navigate an ever-changing and often complex marketplace. So if you're interested in having a member of Better Business Bureau come out to speak with your group about military scams and educate them, please visit the website listed on your screen. Now, our initiative also includes a $2,500 college scholarship. It's called the Military Student Ethics Scholarship, which we give out every year. It recognizes college-bound Connecticut students and adult learners who are children or spouses of an active duty or retired military member. Applicants may apply between their senior year of high school and the end of their freshman year of college. And you can apply now through March 15th. More information can be found on the Military and Veterans Initiative website. Thank you so much to Eric and Shaquan for sharing your experiences. I think that, shopping with a veteran-owned business obviously is one way to say thank you, but we really do want to say thank you for your service, and a big thank you to all of our veterans really for their service. Before we go, Eric, can you please tell us about the silent thank you?
So, there's veterans all over the place that sometimes they will not wear identifying material. Like they won't wear a hat, they won't wear a shirt, but they are a veteran. And what validates that veteran service is seeing things like a mom and dad in the front yard playing ball with their kids, or seeing someone donate blood, or seeing someone open a door for an old lady or a lady. Just those things, because we're always observing, we're always seeing. And it just validates to us that all the hardship that we went through, it was for something. The other thing too is when you're seeing people going out and voting, or we're seeing people going out and protesting, that all those activities, it validates, hey, we did our job, and people are taking, they're using their freedoms that this country is so great for, and we ensured that we protected those freedoms, both in foreign and domestic. And so that's the silent thank you is, hey, just one, be a good person, but two, go and use those freedoms that we defended so innately. So that's the silent thank you.
Again, Shaquan, thank you for your service. Eric, thank you for your continued service. And thank you to all the veterans out there. That does it for Trust Talks. We'll see you next month. Just in time for the holidays, we're going to sit down with the Salvation Army and talk about charity scams, how you can make sure that your money goes to the right place. Have a good day.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.
Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lynn.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Wooden.
Decision for ourselves for this week, if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the cliffs with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time,